Anti-God's Own Country, author A.V. Sakthidharan. Do subscribe to Bookstream YouTube channel. Press the bell icon to receive latest updates on book reviews. In this book, which is available to purchase from Navayana publication website, we will come across the history of the state of Kerala with different perspective. The Maveli Nadu, which has its own history, gives its purpose on socio-cultural backdrop. Here the author talks about the ancient culture, tradition and society with a blend of existing historical records. There are indeed many cultural indifferences which is addressed by the author where one can understand clearly through this book. The book is divided into 6 chapters, starting with that of the history of King Mahabali or Bali, and his story which was told to us during our childhood itself on how Deepavali was celebrated. It is not just a story of a ruler in a Kerala, a state which is down south of that of the country India. It is a story which is told and retold across different regions within this nation. The main purpose behind the role of Bali and his sacrifice is presented here. Also, the most celebrated festival of Onam is being discussed and elaborated to the readers. The author provides many references to the festival and its purpose. In fact, the book is well written with proper references which highlights about the alternative perspective for the readers to understand certain religious or social practices. The second chapter discusses about the role of primitive communism in Kerala's history and how certain sects like Buddhist and Jainism based practices were transformed due to political changes. Then the author presents or highlights the readers on slave trade which was practiced till the time of East India Company in north of Kerala. The role of missionaries in Kerala at around 1836 and its significant impact to the culture of its people, conversion of many underprivileged ones and the fear within one's sect of this major transformation, which includes educational reforms towards the upliftment of these groups and a fear of reason from the landlords. The landlord system and its abuses towards the hard-working labor class. There are indeed many in-depth analysis of people and their sects based on differences in their well-being, which is also highlighted and presented to the readers. The role of social reformers like Sri Narayana Guru, Vaikum Satyagraha, freedom struggle against the colonialist and anti-social elements who ruined the well-being of the laborers through their sheer power and dominance can be experienced through some of the pages in this book. The link between historical rulers with many other states and the changes in the story based on language dialects as well as regional ones can be clearly understood by these writings. The third chapter talks about how poets and literates transform the stories with their own works, how Maharashtra looks towards Bali Raja as written by the famous social activist and thinker of 19th century Jyotirao Govindrao Phule is being highlighted. About how Keralites fantasize about their dream of being in Maveli Nadu and many other instances with reference to Maharashtra or Maharashtrian underpinnings are also highlighted over here. The fourth chapter deals with Mahabali's tribe and discuss in depth about the role of agriculture in Kerala's history and also about various traditional practices which has been preferably followed in the pre-Keralian era or a pre-historic era during the times of Mahabali. There are again a lot of traditions and cultures and practices which has been discussed here about aboriginals or the tribals in general. Also in this book we can see that who were actually responsible for the changes to the cultural changes in Kerala. The role or importance of different asuras and their historical significance is also presented over here in the final few pages of the end of this chapter. The author says that there were or there are still people living in small communities with confined groups who are still practicing their age-old traditions and customs, which was once followed by the so-called Asura clan, which has been addressed in this particular book, who find their origins to them and are often represented or represent their own view for the same and support for their own deities. The fifth chapter is all about the gods and goddesses and how certain fringe elements are trying to do their best to change or transform the originality to their own wishes and their own illusory customs and practices by fabricating lies or fabricating or like transforming or erasing the part of the cultural history of those traditions, and also about provisions in adding alternative history, which in itself is itself making the original race settled there to get angry and are often are against with the opposition's idea of supporting those who want this alternative history to be implemented into the minds of the original or aboriginal clan. Various history and role of gods and goddesses are mentioned from the perspective of those who fantasize or idolize and try to alter the facts of the cultural history of this particular land, and also its significance through alternative metaphors is being subjected to reason for the readers. The author presents an open debate about various ideas pertaining to cultural changes through indoctrination of certain fanatical ideas to that of the ancient ritualistic traditions. The final part of the book believes or briefs about the political importance on cultural changes within the belief system and the present reader and presents the readers about how politics plays an important role in prioritizing matters pertaining to one's faith and belief. The happenings in Kerala since the past few years on the issues related to the women entry to Shabarimala temple and its surrounding underpinnings are debated and discussed in depth. This book is for those who want to understand about the social, cultural, traditional and historical discrepancies which is being happening or which is happening in the Maveli Nadu or Kerala. Hope you love to read this book, as there are many issues and many important things which are presented by the author, which I would definitely make the readers to think and perceive by their own and come to a conclusion, as it is not as it's not like the perspective of that of myself than those of the readers themselves. Like, the thing is, there are again differences in our own ideals, or if our own ideas or our own perceptions in general. So it's better for one listener or the ones who are listening to this particular recording to rather go and buy the book and read it for yourself to perceive certain informations, which itself is somewhat hard to digest, but it's up to you to either digest it or to leave it across. Once again, I hope there are again many important matters of urgency which has been highlighted in this book, and I hope you do read this book and convey the opinion through the comment section below. Until the next book review, signing off, this is Sandesh.